I'm not American. I'm Canadian, living in Thailand for the last 10 years. So I think I may have a unique perspective for this video. We often get boxed in with American as Canadian. Let's see what Diane Jennings is going to say about this. I'm going to get roasted in this video, I'm pretty sure. Let's go, guys.
So today I thought it would be fun to look at some cultural differences that make it look like Americans might be being rude when they're in Europe. Now, disclaimer here, you can do whatever you want when you go to another country, and honestly most people won't care if they think that your manners aren't good. It's a pretty free ruling place, Europe. You can kind of do what you want, but people just might look at you like, oh, that's a bit rude. It's not North Korea. These are just fun little tips in case you feel like you want to just...
She's not wrong in the sense that when you walk in the street, you may have an opinion of someone like, what is he doing? 10 seconds later, you already forgot about this person. So in that optic, it's true that nobody cares what you're doing. Unless you're doing something really, really bad, people will forget about you 10 seconds later. So I don't know if you agree with me, but that's what I think.
Get everything right, but if you don't worry about it. Before I get into today's video, I would be very appreciative if you might subscribe and like and comment on the video, because lately the algorithm does not like me. So I will invoke an Irish curse upon you, which is that every time you tie your shoes, they will become untied. How inconvenient. Okay, the first thing that Americans do when they come to Europe.
I think it might be our microphone. It looked like there's something wrong with the sound, which I know I've tried to change microphone a few times, and I think that this one is the best that I had so far. The Shure SM50 something. I think she probably changed her mic since then. But sound is always much more important than the visual when people watch. Unfortunately, I'm someone who speaks very fast. I'm trying my hardest to speak slower, which is now, this is my slow sound. I'm trying really hard because I know that when I speak fast, because I have a French Canadian accent, a lot of you don't understand what I'm saying. So
That is kind of rude. It's flip people off. Now, let me clarify. Okay, we all know that when you put up the middle finger, I'm doing it right now, it's rude. But in Europe, especially in Ireland and the UK, when you put up two fingers, you're flipping someone off. In America, that actually means peace. If you want it to mean peace in Ireland and the UK and some other parts of Europe, you need to flip your hand around.
oh, so this is negative. In Canada, it's also mean peace and love, like this. The middle finger alone is a slur. It's like FU. This is peace. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know I was going to learn something like this.
So that the open palm is facing them. When you do this, it's like FU, which is even worse.
Does it matter if it's this side or this side? Oh, FU, like in your ass? Is that why it means this? Because it's like you put the finger inside? This is very interesting. I didn't know that.
FU. Why did I cover it in the first place if I was going to just do that? I don't know. But it happened. It actually took me into the university stage to realize this difference when an American friend of mine did this in a picture. And I was like, wow, that was like weird. Why did you flip everyone off? And she was like, no, it's like peace. And then I was like, no, this is peace. And she was like, no, in America, that's peace too. So don't do that, or it's going to look like you're flipping people off. Actually, this one is worse than this one, just so you know.
Really?
Hey, I don't know if this can get me demonetized, but I've done it in the first minute of the video.
I'm scared of doing the single one, because the single one is like it's a big slur. I'm scared of doing it on camera. I have never done it on camera.
The next one is one that I spoke about recently that can come across as rude. It's self-promotion. So obviously people go around self-promoting themselves all the time, but not so much in the same way as American or Canadian people do it. The art of self-promotion is one I have not conquered myself. I'm not good at self-promoting. By the way, you can check out my second channel. It exists. See, that wasn't subtle or good, really, but yeah. Americans are so good at self-promoting and promoting other people that they like. Like, some of you guys promote me in my comments better than I promote me, and I think that's really admirable, but
At least she had the subscribe at the beginning. As a YouTuber, this is one of the things that I struggle the most, is that when I watch other people and to promote their channel at the beginning, usually I click off because it's off topic for the video, so I get impatient and I click off. That's why myself, I don't like to say subscribe at the beginning of the video. And I don't do it at the end because at the end of the video, people they just leave the video. So it's not the place to promote a video. So the only way that I can promote anything is like in the middle of the video, but then it destroy the flow of the video, right? Like if I say, I stop the video and I say subscribe and go check or buy me a coffee, right? It destroy the flow of the video. You guys are not there for that. You guys are there for watching me speak about a topic. So I end up never promoting our 5 other YouTube channel or buy me a coffee, etc. I don't promote anything because I feel like it's distracting and I don't like people who do that, so I don't do it myself. I don't know.
I find like in Irish culture, because we are afraid of getting notions about ourselves, which is the worst thing you can be accused of, nobody really self-promotes in a very obvious way. We kind of just wait for people to discover themselves that you're good at something or that you've won something or achieved something. We don't go around telling people, which is perhaps it would be better to go around just telling people. That would make life easier because you're sitting here and I'll give you an analogy. So when I was an actor, my dad said that you're like Diet Coke, the product Diet Coke. You're one of the greatest drinks in the world, but nobody knows you exist because you have absolutely no advertising, no PR, nothing. And that's what you are if you don't self-promote. So analogy-wise, I can't remember where I was going with it, but I think you'll understand what I'm saying. Okay, the next one, and this is a funny one because on this channel I completely contradict it. It's gift opening. So maybe times have changed now with kids, but when I was growing up, it was not okay to open your gifts in front of other children because you didn't want to be seen to be opening, say one kid gave you like an amazing computer system and then another kid gave you, I don't know, like a notebook and a pen. It might make the person who gave you the lesser thing feel bad, so you just didn't do it. Also at weddings, you don't open the gifts. It's just seen as, again, rude. You might get something better from one person than another person and you don't want to make the person who...
This feel like a self-confident issue. It's funny, everything that she mentioned that American do, we do in Canada. And Christmas, you open your gift in front of children, and if there's jealousy from the other children, we would say, who's the parent that is not teaching their kids manner and to be grateful? One of the things that my mom teach me is to never be jealous of others. That's the thing, and it made me a generous person growing up. And your upbringing, how your parent raised you, if your parent raised you to not be jealous, this kind of thing will never bother a child to be mad because you don't get the gift as good as the other kids. I don't know. I feel like it's an education issue, right, at this point. I don't feel like it's rude, but it's just me.
Bought you a beautiful gift in the first place to feel bad. Americans, on the flip side, always like you to open your gift in front of them. And a couple of times I've been very torn when I've done like meet and greets in America and people...
Maybe an exception would be like if there's a group of children and one is a lot poorer than the other and the parent cannot give that child more than a $10 gift and everyone is getting like much more expensive gifts. So when there's a big difference in class income between two kids, that could be a problem. But if all the kids are getting gifts that are around the same price range or not that far apart, I don't see an issue with this.
Give me things, and I've learned kind of over time, I've only done like a handful of them, but that people expect me to open the gift there and then, but it kind of goes against my cultural upbringing. So when I'm in America, I obviously try and understand your culture and do things your way, so I do open the gifts. But if I'm ever awkward and you meet me and you give me something, that's just why we're just not used to it. It's not a thing that we do in Ireland, certainly. The next one, I put it on this list because I thought it kind of fit when I wrote the list, but now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know that it fits in this list, but sure, let's talk about it anyway. It's circumcising.
I mean, arguably it's not good manners to cut off someone's junk, so it fits.
So circumcising is a standard thing that Americans do when babies are born in America. You just do it, you think it's more hygienic, and that's...
I'm not sure that this is true in Canada. I'm not circumcised, and I never will be unless there's a problem. I think this is a religious thing, and we're not super religious in Canada. I think it's religious people that are really religious that will do things like this. I don't think it's that popular in North America, but I could be wrong.
the thing that you do. In Europe, we definitely don't do it as a standard practice. Sometimes people will do it for religious purposes. I know Jewish people do circumcision, and sometimes people will do it for medicinal purposes, or if they've come from America, they might do it. But it's not the standard in Europe.
I don't think it's, like I said, I don't think it's the standard in North America. And not because it's self-mutilation necessarily. It's because there's no health issue of not cutting it. You don't gain anything special by cutting it. It doesn't make you more healthy. There's no issue somehow. You just need to clean more often, right? Because of the smell and everything. But it doesn't bother as an adult, honestly.
At all. Like I've said it before on this channel, it kind of seems a bit strange to us that you just do it to the baby.
I've also heard that it can alter your, not sex drive, but like how you feel sexually, because the tip, right, the thing that they cut, it's very sexual. It can arouse a man a lot. Well, I speak only for me, right? But it's kind of sexual, that part of the body. And I know people that they cut it, right? That thing, I don't know what it's called, but people that cut it, that some issue down there, went there with a woman because they don't have this anymore. It's harder for them to perform. That's what I heard, but I don't know.
But I respect your culture. But yeah, it does seem a bit odd to us here. From the sublime to the ridiculous. The next one is sitting in a taxi. Okay, so I'm going to say, for example, cities are a little different than the countryside. So I'm just using Ireland as an example because obviously that's where I'm from. In Ireland, when you get in a taxi, if you're on your own and it's the middle of the day, usually you would be expected to sit in the front seat. Otherwise, it's a little bit rude. If you're in the city...
Wow. In Canada, you sit behind. It's more intimate when you're in front. I think that's what I think. It's more intimate when you're in front and the driver sometimes doesn't want to communicate. He can communicate with you through his mirror. And because it's not a friendly encounter necessarily, the taxi, you don't want it to be too personal. So you want to keep your distance, which is interesting because in Europe, you guys are all about distancing yourself, social distancing, not entering someone's own bubble, right? But in the taxi, then you want to be inside the person's bubble and be close to that person, which to me, it's kind of a contradiction a little bit, right? But at the same time, sitting behind for us in a country, Canada, USA, where we always into people's face, is also a contradiction, but for the opposite reason. So it's kind of interesting.
However, it's kind of okay to sit in the back. It's a normal thing. But say you're, I don't know, in Mayo, the taxi drivers come out really far to collect you and you've got a long trip back somewhere, like 10, 15 minutes. Yeah, you just want to be chill and sit in the front. Otherwise, it's kind of seen as a little bit rude. Obviously, if you're a vulnerable person at night time, the rules change. But generally speaking, it's just seen as cordial to sit in the front seat with the driver. Whereas in America, I've discovered they really don't like you to sit in the front seat at all. Like in New York, I tried to sit in the front seat and the driver got kind of pissy with me because he had to move his stuff, and then it was just really awkward, and I realized I really should have sat in the back. But yeah, you can sit wherever you want, but yeah, I would recommend that if you are in a remote kind of place, it's a bit weird if you sit in the back of the car. So the next thing that's seen as kind of rude,
it's indirectly rude. The act itself, it's not rude. It's just rude because it's like custom to be behind. It's like the culture to be behind. And when you act against the culture, when it's normal, you're perceived as going against the rules, even though it's like unwritten rules. You're like a delinquent. You're doing a rude behavior, even if the act itself is not problematic. It's more so the fact that you're not following the group rules in a way. So that's more that.
In Europe is getting a doggy bag from a restaurant, and I kind of understand why you need to in America because the portion sizes are so large. But in Europe, here in Spain and in Ireland, it is seen as a little bit... I'm trying to think of like a diplomatic word. It's a little... Okay, I'm just going to say it the way that I think that you guys will understand it. It's seen as a little bit trashy. Unless you're at the kind of establishment where it doesn't really matter. Like say you're at, I don't know, a TGI Fridays or something and you want your leftovers, grand. But if you're in like a nice family restaurant, it's kind of seen as a little bit odd.
Nah, you guys are weird. I'm sorry, guys, but you don't waste food where I'm from. You bring your food home. I'm kind of shocked that in Europe, it's like, well, you can just waste all of that food. There's people that are struggling in all around the world, and you guys are... Do you think that the restaurant is going to give the food to the homeless? No, they have health hazard and guidance in these restaurants that they are forced to discard every single food that is not eaten at the end of the day, and all leftover. Everything go to the trash. I feel like bringing your food home, it shows respect to me. It shows respect to the restaurant, because you're like, I like your food so much that I cannot eat everything, but I want to bring the rest home. And by bringing the rest home, to me, it's a sign of respect that your food is good enough that I'm going to go out of my way to take it back home and eat it home. So me, I see it as a positive, and I see it as a sign of respect to the cook, to the restaurant. It's not trashy at all. It's just, I don't know. I feel like to me, this is perfectly fine.
To get a doggy bag. Now, it's your food. You can do whatever you like with it. And who am I to say that you should let restaurant staff judge you because you want to take home your leftovers? Do it if you want. I'm just telling you, it's going to be received as a bit strange. The next one, I'm just going to say it, and I think all the Americans and Canadians completely understand this one and appreciate it. It's being loud. Yeah, you guys are you're kind of loud when you're out and about in public. So just... take it down a few decibels. I know, like, there's a lot of you who aren't that loud and don't like the idea of being called loud.
I'm guilty. Even when I make a reaction video, I'm at my less loud. I'm trying very hard to not be loud, to not speak fast, to not be obnoxious, but I'm someone even in public too. I'm very loud. This is, again, cultural. But when I'm in a bus or a train, I just try to follow the vibe of the people around me. So I'm not going to go out of my way to be loud in places that I know that people expect me to not be loud. But if I walk in the street and I speak to my wife Suji, or I'm going to be more loud because that's just my style. And it's more public, open air. But when I'm at a trap place, like a restaurant or thing like this, now I'm trying to be more conscious of there's people trapped with me. So I need to be careful. They cannot just walk away from me if they found me to be too loud. So I'm loud in some places, like the street randomly, but when I'm a place that is confined and people cannot really escape from me, I'm trying to not be loud. And I think that's the right way to approach this, in my opinion.
When you're not, but yeah, it's just maybe just be doubly conscious about it, because yeah, overall you guys have a reputation as being loud when you go to other countries. Okay, this next one is really difficult to explain because it's different in every country, and I'm just going to put it under the framework of getting the timing wrong. Okay, in some countries you are going to want to be prompt and on time. Like if somebody says at 3 o'clock, you need to be there at 5 to 3 in Germany. But if somebody says 3 o'clock in Brazil, people don't expect you to be there until like 3:15 at the early.
Okay, so in Thailand, if someone says 3 p.m., it means 4 p.m. They are never in time. It's like, it's impossible, right? It's the country. It destroy my brain because nobody is ever on time. Like if someone come to repair our air conditioner, right? 2 months ago, there's a guy that came and Suji said he's supposed to come in the morning. I said, what time? I don't know. And he said in the morning. So he's going to come whatever in the morning. And then he came at 2 p.m. And I'm like, why did you come at 2 p.m.? Suji said, oh, it's okay. And it's kind of the culture that you don't give people time, or you don't expect that the time is going to be respected, because people are very loose with what they mean when they give you a time that they're going to be there. While in Canada, it's one of my pet peeves. I am never late. And even 5 minutes, if it's at 3 and I'm there at 2:55 p.m., I feel bad. I want to be here early enough, at least 15 minutes, where I can feel comfortable that I'm there. Like, and I have the time to relax. And when people are late, it drives me insane, personally.
Yes. And then if you're in Poland, you're going to definitely want to arrive at least 30 minutes late for something in somebody's home. If you arrive on time, they won't be ready. Here in Spain, in Italy and France, being 5 to 10 minutes late is definitely considered the norm. I would say that Ireland and the UK are very similar to America and Canada in that, you know, you kind of want to just be on time, or
be on
5
time.
minutes early, or you could apologize for being 5 minutes late. We're kind of on a par there. But in other countries, it is definitely seen as rude if you are too early or too late. The next one is tricky for me as a non-driver, but I've certainly noticed it as a passenger in America. People tend to not necessarily let you in traffic when you're trying to get into a line. So I've noticed in the cities that I've visited in America, and I do preface that by saying cities, I haven't been to a lot of the Midlands yet, that people tend to not be so friendly and let you into traffic. In Ireland, people are generally not jerks about it. They'll let you in. Here in Spain, however, you would have to basically crash your car into the side of them for them to let you in. So there is that difference. Something that
This is a second thing now, the circumcision and this one, where I would agree with Europe. I think in Canada we are conscious of letting people pass, especially when you enter a super highway, right? And you come from the right, and you need to slow down to make sure, because the people that come super fast, they have priority over you. You need to make sure that someone's going to let you pass, and a lot of the time they will let you pass. In Thailand, forget it. It's everyone for themselves. You need to brute force your way in, because if you don't brute force your way in Thailand, you can be stuck at one intersection for 30 minutes because you need to U-turn and nobody let you pass. You need to brute force. And when Suji is driving, she gets super mad at everyone driving in Thailand because the rules are not really enforced here, unfortunately. So
that is considered very, very rude throughout Europe. If you do let somebody in, is that if you don't give them a head nod or a steering wheel, you know, one of those, or, you know, yeah. I'm not good at it because I don't drive, but that's what you have to do. You have to do that, otherwise you're not very polite. And the number one thing that Americans and Canadians do that's kind of rude is ask for ketchup or mayonnaise at the dinner table in a restaurant.
What?
And this is definitely one of those I'm on board with the Americans and Canadians, because I like ketchup, I don't like mayonnaise. If you're in a tourist region, you should be okay, but in most parts of, for example, France, Italy, and Spain, if you ask for ketchup and mayonnaise and it's not just already on the table, they think that's really rude and they will kind of look down their nose at you. So, I don't know.
why? I love mayonnaise. And I used to eat a lot of ketchup, but in Thailand it's not super popular, so now I eat mayo a lot. I don't know. I feel like it's normal. I don't know. I don't understand this one. She did not provide a good reason, but
I like ketchup. I have no problem asking for ketchup if I want it. So, you know, you do you. Today, Chewy just has one shout out, don't you?
I do. Today's shout out is
beautiful Shih Tzu. I had a Shih Tzu growing up. Beautiful dog.
from Jason Moyer for his good friend Stevie on the birth of her new daughter Avaya in February. This
You shouldn't be jumping off the bed. I think that the circumcising. How do I say that? I can't approach the word without circumcising.
Oh, she's doing some bloopers. I'm a bit surprised that Canada is more similar to the US in a lot of the custom than the Europe, because I've been told that Canada, we are closer to Europe in a lot of way of thinking and way of acting, but I feel like in this video, I sound like an American because I agree with the American point of view more than the European. So I don't know. I'm surprised. I expected the opposite, but oh my God.